Now, I'm going to invite you to critique Christianity.
So
Well,
I'm
what's
going to
your-
invite myself to compare that with Sharia.
All right?
Okay. This is peanuts. It's like saying Harry Potter community and their values.
If you start saying that, I'll
absolute-
rip the crap out of your prophet if you start saying that.
Why do you mean, Crow? Rip
But
what?
because your prophet, and again,
Rip,
you say
rip what? What did I rip and what are you going to rip?
I'll rip the fact that your prophet was en masse raped by a bunch of jinns, that he sexually assaulted a
Hold on,
9-year-old.
Before you get into
Yeah.
rubbish,
Yeah.
what have I said that you want to
Yeah,
rip?
you were go comparing my moral framework of Christianity to Harry Potter. You start doing that,
I said
I'll
to
say
you-
that your prophet was
I
raped
said
en
to
masse.
you-
I'll say to you that your prophet sexually assaulted a 9-year-old, widowed her at
So where do
18.
you go from there then? Like,
Pardon?
why would you go into
What?
prophet was raped by whatever?
Well, a
you're
bunch of
talking about?
jinns, yeah.
So where are we supposed to go from there if you go into that?
Well, because, again, the slight mockery of my religion won't be tolerated.
So I am comparing, forget Harry Potter, I'm comparing your religion.
Yeah, say Christianity, or I'll say not some nice things about your prophet.
Stop being so gun-ho, bro. I'm not being rude
Not
to you.
like I'm
Relax
not,
yourself.
not being funny, but if you say anything that defames the
Right,
holy
but I
faith
didn't
given
say,
to us
I
by
didn't
God,
say Jesus is being raped by whatever. So why would you go there?
well, because it's not true.
So why would you go into gun-ho nonsense? Like,
Well, because
relax
it's
yourself.
true.
Relax
The
yourself.
hadiths that talk about Muhammad being
I'm
raped.
comparing your religion to secular ideas like Harry Potter. If you don't like Harry Potter, let me
Yeah.
just say secular.
Yeah, great.
There's
There you
no
are.
benefit of Christianity compared to secular ideas and philosophies.
Yeah.
If you say monogamy, abortion, and the last one was.
Wait, so secularism doesn't
Hold on,
pro-
what was the last one? 3 points you made.
Not marrying a cousin. Let's go with that.
No, you said monogamy, because that's not Christian value, you're not married.
Pardon? Yeah, it's taught in
There was-
Leviticus.
There was monogamy, there
Yeah.
was abortion,
Yeah.
and the last one you said was.
Completely forgot. So let's say cousin marriage. Not
So-
being against marrying a cousin.
So those 3 points
Yeah.
are not worthy enough to be a religion followed en masse by people, and it should not be promoted.
Do you know what you're
over
doing?
any other
Do you know what you're
secular
doing? You're
ideas.
giving this very cardinal understanding that religions have to provide something to you in order for them to be
They
true.
should.
No, of
Otherwise,
course.
it's
God,
hocus pocus.
God is unknowing. Whatever He decrees, whether we can prove it or not, is the ultimate will and wisdom of God. So I am not a cardinal sinner that says, what does this religion give to me in order for it to be true? I rather look at it in terms of why it is true, and then if so,
Sorry,
submit
repeat
myself.
that, because you just said something profound.
I said that I'm not a cardinal sinning man where I have to look at the table and say, what are the values of this religion? What does it give it to me?
Why would you follow it if there's no values?
Because there are things that are within it that prove it to be from God. Not that
There's no values. You just said there's no values.
But look, you can give your own personal interpretation onto why one system of morality is more impactful than another. However, I don't really care. I care about what God's telling me. If I can prove that something is from God, I'm concerned more with what God is saying to me than why He is saying it to me.
No, you're concerned more with why he's saying it to you and not what he's saying to you.
No, I'm concerned by the fact that God is telling me these things.
Yeah, so
Imagine,
that's the why,
imagine it.
not the
Okay, would you question if God said to you right now?
So the why is more important than the what.
Pardon?
So
the
why
what?
that
No,
God
the
is
what
speaking
is
to
more important than the why.
No, because you said it doesn't have to have values. That's the what.
No, that is the why. The why is why is God telling me this? What does this bring to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you value that more than the.
I value more that
contents.
God has told me these things. That God has told me I must follow these things rather than
more than the contents of what he's telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you follow that? That's a cult.
Pardon?
That's a cult.
No, because I can prove that it's from God. You're confusing. It's
Prove Christianity is from God.
exactly great. I will. Okay. So if we look at the prophecies within Zechariah and Isaiah. So for example,
Jews
Zechariah.
disagree.
Pardon?
Jews disagree.
Okay, and then
So
bring me a
your
Jew.
proof is flawed.
Bring me a Jew.
So what, have you got any proof?
Pardon?
Do you have any other?
Yes, I'm going to exegete it stronger than a Jew. Like it's like me saying to you, a
So
Shia.
you're going to
Yeah.
debate the verses better than him,
Yes.
and then that makes it true.
Yeah, of course. Like if you were to go to me, a Sunni, Shia, and Ahmadi all sit in a room, they're going to exegete passages in a different way.
Yeah.
Am I going to say, all right, I'm not going to hold to your school of thought because obviously a man disagrees with you?
Sunnis and Shias don't disagree about God.
Pardon?
They disagree about politics after.
Yes, they
the
do.
Prophet.
Yes, they do. Of course
No,
they
they
do.
don't.
Everything reflects on God. If, for example, there's some sects of Shiaism that says that Aisha.
Jews and Christians,
Yeah.
this, like,
Do you not think that
they disagree on the core, the most basic things
Shias and
of
Sunnis
God.
have a huge divide amongst themselves.
Not of God.
Yes, they do. They believe that
Not
they're
of God and the Prophet.
Yes, they do. I'll prove it
Now
to you.
you're appealing,
okay.
you're appealing
so,
to something that's not there.
No, I am. You just denying that. It's just you cutting me off in order to say it.
Are you comparing Jews and Christians versus Shias and Sunnis?
Yes.
You should
Confidently.
just walk away.
Oh, you should walk away, my friend.
If you're going there, then there's no argument.
If
There's
you
no more
are,
debate.
okay, so the
hell?
Shias believe that Muhammad was some sort of ignorant doofus that somehow married someone that was a kuffar and disbelieved in him.
Extremists, not the majority of Shias.
Oh, okay, but a Shia still holds that position nonetheless, right?
Maybe you'll get one donut, but not the majority. of
There,
Shias.
there are some legitimate schools of thought within
Majority of
Shiism.
No, you're appealing to outliers again. You always
Pardon?
do that. You're appealing to outliers again.
I'm not
Majority
appealing so
of
much to
Shias-
outliers.
Majority of Shias, majority of Sunnis do not disagree
Oh, what
on
about
God or Prophet.
what about the Imams
And
then?
if you,
This
if
is
you
the
compare
successor of
Christianity-
Muhammad. Okay, let's go to
Yeah,
the
that's
major
not-
ones
that's
then.
not God and-
The
that's not God,
succession.
that's
Well,
not
it
God.
is because
That's
if
not God
God
and
is
Prophet.
ordaining all these things and has foreknowledge of all of these things happening, then of course that reflects on their God. Everything goes back to God, my friend. That is my point to you.
Okay, so that does not work. That analogy doesn't work.
Yes, it is.
And
Does
also-
everything go back to
and
God?
Also going back to
Does
you
everything go back to God?
Also going back to you proving Christianity.
Yes, great. So the book of prophecies to Isaiah and Zechariah both talk about the messianic figure being sold for 30 pieces of silver, being God, and being persecuted by the East.
Prophecies.
Yes, great. Now, even within the pagan tradition, if you look at Plato's Republic, he says that if a perfect man were to ever exist, he should be humiliated and crucified. My argument for why the New Testament is true
No, that one.
is because
That one there's arguments against it. But go on, I'll let you.
what the translation of crucifying.
I'll let you have it. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, great. So the prophecies within the Old Testament point to the New, and that is an argument for within itself why it is true.
Okay, so your proof for Christianity is debating verses.
Yes, of
That's
course.
not proof, bro.
That is proof.
That's exegesis
Okay.
and arguments.
Okay.
and
If there is something implicitly within a passage that proves its divinity, can I not use that?
No, because you always have people arguing against you.
how can? Oh, great! I can debate them all day like I'm doing with yourself.
Yeah, and then you'd walk away with no proof.
No, I would walk away with the
I
misguided
would
people.
Walk away, no proof. You would walk away proof.
No, okay. What do you think proof is within a
Proof
religion?
is objectively verifiable,
Okay, such as what?
such as the water is wet, the sun is hot.
No, in context of religion, because the
In context of religion,
Yeah.
it will be like, here's a miracle from God why this religion is true.
Okay, a miracle is prophecy, right?
A miracle will be undebatable.
Okay, prophecies include
undebatable.
are prophecies including revelation, because miracles are something that are out of the
Not
ordinary.
From books before you.
How
Another
can
religion
guys
before you.
500 years before Christ ever existed prophesize Christ?
Yes, but then that would be the debatable thing. You'd have to have undebatable proof.
Pardon?
You
Yes,
don't
of
have
course.
any undebatable
That
proof
is
for Christianity.
undebatable proof. Why would a pagan philosopher, prophets from 500 years before Christ ever existed,
Yeah.
all point to this conceptually perfect man being sold out, persecuted, humiliated, and crucified?
But that argument falls flat on his face the same way we say Muhammad is prophesied in the Bible and you say no.
Find me the prophecy.
Isaiah 42, you just said Isaiah. Isaiah 42.
Okay,
is
Isaiah
Muhammad.
42. You're going to talk about how it
From
talks
the
about
beginning
river.
of the Isaiah 42 to
Yeah.
near the end where it starts talking about Israel,
Yeah.
2/3 of the page,
Okay, so Isaiah
Muhammad's life story.
42. Do you understand it talks about all nations, right? It's
Hold on,
not
hold
just
on, hold on.
exclusively
Before
Arabia.
Before we go into Isaiah 42, my argument was
Yeah.
that you take the exegesis where it's being disagreed by the people that the book came to. The same way you disagree Muhammad's prophesied, they disagree Jesus prophesied.
Okay, and
So that's not
and
proof.
do you know what
It's
the
not
beautiful thing?
undebatable
Do you know what the beautiful thing about debates?
Yeah.
One side will always come out stronger than the other. One will always be proven out by the other opinion.
No, it
Not
won't.
two things can't be
No,
true
it
at the same
won't,
time.
Because you, for example, let's not even go into the Messiah being prophesied in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Even if we go into, for example, Muhammad being prophesied in Isaiah 42,
Yeah.
you will not be able to argue against it.
Of course, because Isaiah.
It's impossible to argue against Isaiah 42.
Isaiah 42 talks about preaching to all the nations. It's not just exclusively the Arab Peninsula. Yeah.
Muhammad came to all the nations.
So did Christ and all his disciples.
Christ came to the Jews.
Yeah, and all of the nations.
I have not come to except for the less.
Yeah, at the time of before the fulfillment of the law. But he also tells
Yeah,
he also
that's-
tells his
that's your-
disciples
that's
to
your remix.
No, but
That's
he
your
also
remix.
he also tells his disciples to baptize people in all nations in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wasn't that added on to the text?
Pardon?
Wasn't that verse added on? And it's not in
Of
the
course not.
Septuagint?
It is in the Septuagint.
That's
The
the verse
the
that's not in the
Septuagint is the
Septuagint.
Greek Old Testament translation.
Sorry, that's the one not in the manuscripts original.
Well, it is in the Codex Vaticanus.
Okay, I'll give you it, but at the same time,
So you're arguing that Muhammad preached to all of the nations through agency, right? Because we wasn't physically there, right?
My argument is that if we go into Isaiah 42
Yeah.
and we go line by line by line by line by line until it starts talking about Israel,
Yeah.
every line is about Muhammad.
No, it's not.
Every 2/3 of the page,
Absolutely
Muhammad's
not.
life story.
Absolutely not.
So that's where we disagree. And why would
Absolutely.
you use that as evidence?
Why would I use
Because
that as evidence?
We don't use that as evidence.
Okay. Do you believe two things that at the same time can be true? And I think we're just going to have to round up this discussion because it's going to get nowhere.
No. I believe that God
Can-
will give you objectively verifiable.
What are the
evidence.
objectively
And-
verifiable things within the Quran?
Oh, yeah. You want to go there?
Go on.
We can go there. But the point of God giving you these evidences is that you can debate against the pagans who only have faith. Just believe. Just believe. Jesus died for you.
Paganism
So
points
that's
to
how
the
you can argue
cross.
against- Sorry?
I believe paganism points to the cross.
Pagans don't have any evidence. That's why.
No, 'cause
God gives you evidence
You
to
know-
argue against
You know that
pagans.
there are saints that have seen that have believed to seen. How?
I'm an Englishman. Fuck you, I'm an Englishman. Fuck you, I'm an Englishman.
My friend, stop swearing. But anyways,
So,
my point would just be to you. I think it's
So that's
said.
why the Quran,
My point.
every 10th verse ends with, for those who think. This is a sign for those who ponder. This is a sign for those who think. This is a sign for those who understand. This is a sign for those who are wise.
Yeah.
God is trying to get you to understand and have rational debates, logical debates with the pagans.
Of course,
Because
but
the pagans
you know,
have
you know
no
the
leg to
beautiful.
stand
Do you know
on.
the beautiful thing within Christianity? We
Yeah.
have many saintly works that talk about
So
Aristotle.
can we-
1 second, because I think we're going to have to round up this discussion. Because at some
Go,
point.
you said you want objectively verifiable evidence for
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. No. So, my beautiful thing about Christianity is that we believe that paganism points to the cross. That there are pagan philosophers that have talked about Christ. Well, allegedly, the saints that I have to hold to in the church, some of them have seen in heaven Aristotle and Plato. That's a good example.
According to them, we can't prove it. It's not objectively verifiable. It's subjective, unverifiable. What objective verifiable evidence is for Islam is too many. If you want to talk
Give me
about
one.
prophecies, Muhammad's prophecies are over 100 prophecies. Majority of them come true.
Could I give a scientific inaccuracy within the Quran?
There is no scientific inaccuracy within the Quran.
Quran chapter 55, verse 22.
Let me do the category before you pick one.
Yeah, go on.
So the categories are prophecies.
Yeah.
The category is Muhammad's one miracle that we can prove today. We weren't there when he was feeding people with a little small pot or whatever. But the one miracle that we can prove is the Quran. The Quran we can prove objectively, verifiably that it was not made by humans.
Can I show a scientific inaccuracy that would prove that?
No. The scientific congruences in the Quran is one of the things that makes it miraculous.
Okay.
But there's many things.
Can we go to that
make it
one then?
miraculous.
Can we get to that
So
one?
you think you found one?
Yeah.
I want to show you one where.
No, because if there is like hundreds of these, we're going to be here all day.
No, there is no hundreds.
Okay.
And the hundreds you're thinking is scientific.
Can I give you one?
We don't even use the scientific.
Because
word.
I want to go to one.
Low tier people use the
Okay,
scientific congruences.
great,
as
but I
evidence.
want to use an inaccuracy.
Okay, before you use that accuracy, let me
Go on.
show you one proof where it proves that the Quran was not written by humans. Can I do that?
Go on.
So there's a verse that says, produce a chapter like it. Have you heard that argument?
It's ambiguous in terms of what is like the Quran.
Okay, it's not ambiguous. They've actually researched it in depth. There's articles I can give you on this that breaks down the smallest chapter,
Yeah.
which is 10 words, and the 10 words has 27 linguistic and literary features, which is impossible for humans to do.
What is like the Quran?
How would you argue 27 literary linguistic features in 10 words?
No, that doesn't give an argument towards what is the Quran.
No, I'm saying to you,
if
it's
I were to
impossible for
if I
humans
were
to
to
make
present, no, because you're looking at a feature of the Quran,
Yeah.
and you're saying that this is what the Quran is like in order to compare it to other texts that will be submitted into this so-called Quranic challenge. Now, if I were to submit a text, right? Let's
What
just
the hell
say.
did you just say?
I said that you're looking at one particular feature of the Quran and saying that this is meant by the author as an example of one of the criterions for what is like the Quran.
No. I'm saying to you, this one specific feature of the Quran
Yeah.
proves that humans did not make it.
That's not true.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's not. Okay, how would something out of the ordinary in terms of Arabic literature prove that it's from God?
Because
That's
you
just
didn't
absurd.
get the concept. The
I
concept
did.
is 10 words having 27 linguistic literary features.
Yeah.
already impossible.
That is possible.
Yeah, try it.
It's
Try it.
Okay.
Go read the article
The
and try
the
it.
fact is, if the Quran,
1,400 years they tried. It's impossible
if
to do
the
it.
Quran is a physical
let me
book in
continue, let me
Arabic
continue before
and
you
it has
jump in.
these features, you can of course do the same thing with another piece of text.
Let me continue. So it's impossible, verified, to put 20.
How has it been verified?
Let me finish.
How's it been verified?
I'll give you the article, you can verify it. It's impossible to put 27 linguistic literary features in 10 words.
So how does the Quran
Let
exist?
me finish. And then the 10 words is the smallest chapter in the... Let me finish.
How does the Quran
Let me finish.
exist?
Let me finish.
Yeah.
The 10 words is the smallest chapter in the Quran.
Yeah.
The Quran has 77,797 words.
How does the Quran exist?
10 words is impossible to copy.
If it is impossible,
77,000 words is
if
impossible.
the Quran,
No AI can do it.
if the
no
Quran,
demons and
if
aliens
the
can help.
Quran exists physically as a book in Arabic,
Yeah.
then how can you say these linguistic features are impossible?
So, if you get 10 words, I went to the shop and I woke up and I came back, 10 words, try fit in 2 linguistic features in there.
No.
It will take you 2 days
not
to come up with 2.
Not answering my question.
It will take you
Not
infinity to
answering,
come up with 27.
not the question I asked, right?
Do you understand the concept? Then?
No, because
Why it's impossible?
your question literally renders the Quran's existence as impossible.
Exactly.
No. That you think that proves something? It really
Exactly.
doesn't, because it loads off the assumption that your argument is true in proving its divinity. So if you're saying
one of the arguments,
hello,
and it's already proven that it's
my
from God.
friend, we're gonna get nowhere. The corner's shutting, and I want to make this point very clear before we start wrapping up. If the Quran, in your eyes, what if its testimony within itself to be true is its linguistic miracles? Okay, my apologies. How can the Quran exist if these linguistical features are impossible within a text? How does the Quran exist?
The way the verse that led researchers to this phenomenon, that it says, if you doubt this is from God, then produce a chapter like... No, it says, if you doubt this is from God, then call your helpers besides Allah and produce a chapter like it.
Again, not answering my question. How does this book
That
exist?
verse explains
If you say-
who made it,
Yeah.
why,
Yeah,
and how to disprove it.
my friend.
It's a challenge.
If
It's
you
an
say,
open-ended
if
challenge.
you're,
So for 1,400 years,
yep,
the Arab linguists,
Yeah.
the atheists, the Christians, the Jews, they all tried to take this challenge. Impossible.
Yeah.
I've tried with AI, impossible.
great. So, you're not answered my question.
Yeah.
If these features are impossible within a book, how does the Quran exist?
Try it.
How
Go
does the
get AI,
Quran? How?
and try and produce a chapter like
maybe I have to appeal to the audience here. How, if these linguistic features within this book impossibly exist, then how does the Quran physically exist within Arabic?
Because just because you cannot make a puzzle where
No, you're saying
everything-
that this is impossible for this puzzle to exist.
No.
But the Quran as a puzzle
no,
exists.
No, you're misunderstanding now. It's called inimitability.
Yeah.
Meaning, imitate, inimitable.
Yes.
You cannot imitate. That's
Okay, but
what
you're saying these
inimitable means.
are these
So
linguistic?
it's there. The Mona Lisa is there.
Yeah.
The International Space Station is there. But you can copy the Mona Lisa. You can copy the International Space Station. but you
Question:
can't
Are
copy the
these
Quran.
linguistic features? Can they
You understand?
possibly exist in a book?
No, they're possible.
Great.
Because they're there.
So if they are possible,
Theoretically, they're there. Practically, you will never copy.
okay. So theoretically,
Yeah.
a human could produce a book like the Quran.
Theoretically, yes.
Great. So it defeats the purpose of the challenge. The purpose of
The purpose is physically.
no.
Practically, you will never be able
The
to do it.
challenge is this: a human.
And not just you,
Befo-
even your helpers besides Allah.
one second.
So call your
One-
demons, call the Holy Spirit.
One second.
Call everyone.
Yeah.
No one will be able to
Great.
copy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of calling the Holy Spirit, which is of course a divine third person of the Trinity, spirated by the Father, we had to call upon Muhammad, an illiterate man, in order to call forth this impossible book to
Where did it
exist.
come
That's
from?
great.
Muhammad did it. Come from God.
Well, in my eyes, that's how I believe it was compiled. However,
Well,
you're
we just
saying to me,
literally proved
wait,
that it's
wait,
from
no,
God.
you didn't.
We
no, you
literally
didn't.
proved
No,
that
you
it's
didn't.
God.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You.
If you don't
wait,
believe
hold
this
on,
is from
hold
God,
on, hold on, hold
then
on.
call your
hold
helpers,
on, hold on.
which is why I said
Hold-
the Holy Spirit.
wait,
Call the Holy Spirit.
1 second.
Your helpers
One
besides
second.
Allah.
1 second.
You will never be able to.
1 second.
Do you not understand
So
this?
he's just said that these linguistic features within a text is theoretically possible. Now, the argument for the Quran's divinity derives from the fact that the only way that this book could exist is through being compiled by a divine entity. Now, if you're saying there's a possibility that a book like the Quran could be compiled by a man, it defeats the very nature of the argument from exclusivity. That's the point.
No,
You're saying
no,
that if
that's a low tier.
here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma, ladies and gentlemen. If the Quran's features are impossible, then the Quran can't exist. If the Quran's linguistic features can exist,
Bro, why
then
are
a
you
book like the
overcomplicate-
Quran
why are you
can
crypto-
exist,
Why are you doing
therefore it
cryptography
defeats...
on something that's obvious?
Pardon?
Why are you trying to muddle the waters on something that's obvious?
No, you're...
No, let me finish.
Okay.
Obviously, the challenge is produce a chapter like it.
Yeah.
You will never be able to produce a chapter like it because the impossibility is you can't fit 10 words, you can't fit 27 linguistic literal features in 10 words. Impossible.
Okay, so is it...
The Quran has it.
Okay.
You, AI, aliens,
Great.
demons, no one will be able to match it.
Okay.
That's the challenge from the Quran.
Okay, great. So
And that's one of the miracles
Yeah.
why we say it's from God.
Great.
And no humans can ever match it.
Great.
And it proves that humans did not make this book.
great. So here's my dilemma. Here's the challenge for this.
And you can't muddy the waters on it.
I'm-
That's
I'm-
clear cut.
let me see.
Objectively verifiable evidence.
So impossible.
Clear cut.
Impossible just means it can't exist, right?
Why are you doing modeling? What's
Okay.
the semantics
No,
of playing?
okay, great. I won't ask you questions. I'll just say it to the camera. Possible can't exist. If something can't exist, can't be physically existing within my hand right now. Now, if the Quran possesses a linguistic miracle that is impossible, it means the Quran can't exist. In which case, we are looking at a book that has features that supposedly doesn't exist, but still exists in the first place,
you
which
struggling
means
with
the
concept?
challenge
Are
is
you
false.
struggling with
If it is the
understanding?
case that these features can exist and it's possible for a human to produce these features, therefore it means that someone can create a book like the Quran, in which case
Yeah.
the
So
challenge falls flat on its face.
My findings from trying to beat this with AI was
You think ChatGPT is the...
it done well. It got 15. 15
Right.
is a high number in 10 words.
However,
However-
could you repeat to me what I just told you?
How? Yeah, I'm arguing this action.
No, what did I tell you? No, what did I tell you?
You said it's theoretically possible. So theoretically,
No, I said that.
my
if
findings
you-
was I was going to build on
You
what you
agreed
just
that
said.
it's possible, right?
I'm building on
Yeah.
what you just said. So my findings from AI was AI told me theoretically it's possible to get more than 27,
Yeah.
but I can't do it. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's the way large language models work. Do you know
Yeah.
how large language
So
models aren't
even though
intelligent?
theoretically you could, which is why God gave the challenge,
Which
it's impossible.
defeats the exclusivity argument that the Quran challenge gives. The exclusivity argument that the Quran presents within itself is that the exclusive way that the Quran could be composed is through the impossible language features of the Quran itself. However, if there is a possibility for the contrary,
but you're stuck on the first.
if the possibility,
objectively,
if,
meaning
if
you
there
can
is
go
a possibility,
home, I give you the article, you can go home and verify what I'm saying.
absolutely,
Objectively
and the lovely
verify.
people at home
You
could
want
maybe
the
understand.
article?
Great, and then we can end this discussion.
No, there's more. There's more objectively verifiable evidence from Islam.
Well, it just seems like,
For
unfortunately,
example, the historical ones.
all right.
The historical ones. Have you heard of the Pharaoh weeping one?
Yeah, you're going to argue that the language used compared to the Bible is more historical, right? So, like the Pharaoh being called the Pharaoh instead
No,
of the king.
that's the Joseph thing.
Yeah.
That's
But look,
that one. You know.
it's a language device.
I'm not even going to go into. I'm talking about
you
the
actually think that's an
Pharaoh
argument?
weeping.
Right.
You heard of Pharaoh weeping?
Yeah, I'm aware of the argument there.
What's
but,
that one?
I haven't really looked into it. You can present it.
So basically, God says, when, at the time of Pharaoh's death, he says, the earth neither weep for him, or the stars neither. The earth and the stars, none of them weep for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the scholars were looking at that verse thinking, what the hell is he talking about? Until the Rosetta Stone findings of the archaeological plinths. So they went to the sites of the burial grounds for the pharaohs. They found a massive plinth that says, the sky weeps for you, the ground shakes for you upon your death, O Pharaoh.
That just seems like a massive
why
case.
Why would the Quran knows dead languages explanations?
That just seems like a massive confirmation bias.
It was a dead language.
No, this just seems like a massive
It
case
was
of.
unknown knowledge.
No, this just seems like a massive case of confirmation bias.
You don't understand. You always have a problem with the conception.
Yeah, like
understanding
you
what's wrong with
understand that, like if things that are commonly
you
said
speak
about
like a high tier intellectual person, but you
I would
you don't
never.
follow-
I would never say I'm smart.
follow-
I was greatly privileged to, be
what
learned
did
from
you-
other people.
What did you struggle to understand from what you said?
What I struggled is, it seems like, and again, this is the first time I've ever heard of this argument,
bias.
that it's just a massive case of confirmation bias.
What
That,
do you-
that you're
how do you-
correlating two things that ultimately aren't proven to be linked with one another.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Plinth, Pharaoh's burial ground.
Yeah, and that's what Islam majorly does. It tries to argue for itself historical arguments that were just never
Is
there.
anyone struggling with understanding? Brother,
But if you want to appeal to the audience, I can do the same.
You're not following me, so I'm struggling to
Okay,
how can you find this?
honestly, we've
No,
been
how can you
discussing for the
understand this?
we've been discussing for the most
The
near
Quran says-
we've been discussing
listen,
for the most past of the
The
near
Quran
hour.
says randomly,
Yeah.
Pharaoh, upon your death,
'Cause it's the
the
consistent-
sky did not weep for you, the ground did not shake for you.
It's a common language of the Quran.
We find at the burial grounds of the pharaohs in
Yeah.
a dead language that
Yeah.
we can only translate today, that Muhammad's time was dead, unknown,
Right.
that the plinth for the burial grounds of the pharaohs says the sky shakes for you or weeps for you and the ground shakes for you upon your death, O Pharaoh. How the hell did the Quran know this information in
Because
a dead
it's
language
a common,
in a different time zone?
It's the common language of the Quran to humanize objects such as the earth, stars, and planets.
The sky did not weep for you, the ground did
Yeah,
not shake
that's
for you,
that's the
Pharaoh.
common. That's the common language of the Quran.
This is the prayer people
This
used
is
to
the common
pray when a pharaoh dies.
This is the common language of the Quran.
had
It
no
seems like a
information of this.
massive. Okay, it seems like a massive case, and I would need to look into this firstly. But this is
Yeah,
sort
but
of
why
my
if you
instant
don't know
response.
something, why are you always rejecting it?
Because I'm always
You're
hypercritical
always,
of most things that I said about Islam. In all honesty,
But we're the only things, except for science, that has proof. Objectively verifiable proof.
Debating opinions.
well,
I am proving
Great.
objectively verifiable. You can go home and verify
not objectively verifiable.
scientific fact.
What happens
When,
when you die?
when something is objectively verifiable in science, that's called a
What
fact.
happens when you die?
My friend, I think largely. So look, I'll say this much. I feel like instinctually this just seems like an act of confirmation bias.
Do you think objectively verifiable things are opinions?
I think that.
No, I think you
Great.
don't know what happens when you die.
Look, my friend,
I think he
I
doesn't
will
know
say this
what
much.
happens.
I don't know a refutation to this argument. However, I would say, hearing from what you've just said without
That's
knowing about it,
two objectively verifiable things.
no, it's not. The first thing we had,
Scientific
the
fact.
first thing I gave to you was a dilemma that you couldn't resolve. The second thing was an argument
dilemma
that
are you
you
talking
gave, the dilemma
I
of.
remember giving you the objectively verifiable evidence.
No, so you gave the argument from the Quran within itself being an evidence for its divinity, and you said produce a book like the Quran. I said to you that
chapter,
if it
10 words,
possesses,
just a
yeah,
chapter.
I said to you there's a dilemma here. If the Quran possesses impossible language features, then the Quran can't possibly exist. If the Quran possibly exists,
you're talking
then
because you don't
hypothetically,
understand. I swear to God,
I'm
you
not.
don't understand.
I'm not.
I'll give you the article.
Great.
I'll give you the article.
Oh, come on, don't read an article. Keep talking.
And for homework.
Homework, of course.
You're continue making any points.
Yeah, the dilemma for the argument is just simply that either the Quran impossibly possesses a language feature in which the Quran cannot exist, or the Quran does exist and possesses features that can exist, in which case a human can create a book like the Quran.
Okay. Sapiens Institute, yeah? This is where the article is.
What's Sapiens Institute?
Think tank, Muslim think tank,
A Muslim think tank.
whatever, yeah. Produce
Okay.
one chapter like it is the article inside.
Great, I'll look into it.
Not a think tank, sorry, like.
But I feel like, firstly, I might have to go at some moment, so I think that should largely finish our discussion.
So, Sapiens Institute,
Yeah, I've heard of it before.
produce one chapter like it.
Great.
They have the whole thing and why it's impossible for humans to copy this book.
Fantastic.
And that's one of the objective verifiable evidences,
Yeah,
by the way, ETW.
great.
So instead of saying we are Christian and our evidence is Bible
Prophecies.
verses that are debatable, it's better to have objectively verifiable evidence so you can actually have a conversation with the pagans.
Don't think you know what objective means, but however, pleasure speaking to you. What's your name, my
This
friend?
is why I gave to you articles you can verify. That's
Okay.
why it's objective.
What's your name, my friend?
You understand why it's objective?
No, because I would contend that would mean it's objectively true. I think that we mostly use these words in like debate brospheres. Like,
If I say to you the sky is blue, is that objective or is that subjective? It's objective.
It's objectively
Yeah.
true because we
If I say
can
to you the
view
sun
it.
is hot,
However, with the
is the
Quran,
sun not hot?
with the
Is there a case where the sun is not hot?
with the Quran challenge especially, you lead into this huge dilemma that unfortunately there are possibilities for a book like the Quran to be composed. However, this has been a very long and fruitful discussion.
Impossible.
It is not.
When you look
Can
at the
does
research,
the Quran exist?
you will realize why it's impossible.
Does the Quran exist?
It's the only thing in existence that is inimitable.
Okay. Does the Quran exist?
You're not understanding.
Okay,
Listen,
great. Does the Quran possess these language
Inimitable
features?
Means
Yes.
it exists, but it cannot be imitated.
Okay, great. So the claim is
So
that it
if
can't
no
be
one,
imitated.
If no one can copy the Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
then the Mona Lisa is a miracle.
Great.
Yes.
So you're saying that
Just
the
because the Mona
reason
Lisa exists and no one can copy
okay,
it.
the reason why let's use the example of the Mona Lisa. So let's say an argument for the Mona Lisa being something that you cannot imitate is because of its exclusive features. Now, you're not arguing it for its exclusivity, but rather from its impossibility. Now, if you argue from its impossibility, it means it can't exist. If you say to me that the feature of the Mona Lisa is an impossible brushstroke, then that brushstroke can't exist. If there is an impossible language feature of the Quran,
Brushstroke can exist.
Okay.
It's a miracle.
if it can exist,
Do you think God can't do
okay,
miracles?
if it can exist,
Yeah.
then there is a possibility for a human to create something like the Quran. Correct?
No, because no one can
Okay,
match
then-
the miracle.
Then the Quran can't exist.
Exactly. It shouldn't exist.
Okay, so the Quran does not exist.
That's why it's proof. Because it shouldn't exist is why it's proof that humans did not make it.
No, you're not understanding.
Do you follow the
you're
conclusion?
using the word.
Impossible exists.
You're
here.
using the word possibility a
Listen,
bit loosely.
Impossible. The impossibility exists in the physical world. That's why it's proof that humans did not make it.
You're using the word possible a bit loosely here.
If Mona Lisa had a brushstroke that was impossible, then it would not be human.
No, it just wouldn't exist. What do you think impossible means? Something that can't exist?
Nothing's impossible.
This guy is just
Exactly.
arguing, but I'll leave it there.
Appreciate it, my
nice.
friend.
It was nice trying to.
Good sport, bro. God bless you.
Well, that was a.
What happened there, young
Yeah.
Bob?
But so,
What happened there, young Bob?
you know, off the kind of cusp of me discussing the dilemma of can you produce a book like the Quran, I kind of made this dilemma of if there is an impossible feature within the Quran, the Quran cannot exist but does exist, which means the language features within the Quran can possibly exist, in which case someone can create a book like the Quran. The other argument from the Weeping Pharaoh I've not really come across, and I'll be honest, I'll look into it and, you know, at some point when I'm free, give a response to it. The other one on incest and abortion. These are two things that I think we can just observe from the consequences, what Christ says is the fruits, and we can determine its moral value. So in the case of incest, you have a high cause of deformities, therefore it's wrong. In the case of abortion, you're ending an innocent human life. I think there's a huge issue when it surrounds the communication of the discussion at hand. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of the times it kind of led astray in terms of insulting one another. However, I think it was something that we could both get behind, and it was quite fruitful.
Well done, young Bob. Any message to the family? How they can find you? What you're doing at the moment? How they can support you?
I'm largely planning to make Turning Point UK an organisation that has different chapters across the United Kingdom. I think that it's very healthy to promote the free market of ideas, and will very much keep it on side with the Christian faith.
Well done, young Bob. Well done.
I'm told. How you doing?